All right, man. Look, we back. We back. All right, so we back on the YouTube now, so I can kind of chill. I don't gotta condense everything into 90 seconds. I don't want to keep y'all here forever. But I don't gotta like rush through it and do like crazy jump cuts and all that like I do with Instagram and TikTok because I gotta get everything done within the 90-second reel and all that. But anyway, man, I'm gonna jump right into it. Um Jackson here, of course, not JAX Productions. Thank y'all. If you are here, thank you so much for clicking on the video, man, watching it and seeing what I got to say. If you have not, what do all of the YouTubers say? Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, man. Especially, at least like it. If you're not gonna subscribe to it, at least like it. You know what I'm saying? Get me in the algorithm, get me back rolling, get me back going. But I'm here because uh I want to try to I want to revamp the YouTube. I want to revamp the YouTube. I want to revamp the Patreon. I'm not really sure what kind of schedule I'm gonna get on just yet. I don't know if it's gonna be weekly, or if it's gonna be like maybe like a couple of times a week. I haven't picked a day or days. I don't know. I'm just jumping right back into it because that is part of what I want to bring to you guys, man. So, I'm not gonna erase any of my old content, whether it's like the pod content or the not Jax content or the one mic stand or sexual strangers. I'm not going to erase anything, but I am going to start new from right here, basically. Um, I want to try to teach a little bit. I want to try to educate a little bit, give back some of the things that I've learned within content creation, whether it be from podcasting or from actually shooting and editing and more so on the video side as opposed to like the talking side and everything like that, the talent side or whatever. Um, and I really just want to gear it towards specifically people who are 30, 35, mid 30s, late 30s, who want to create content. You want to jump in the YouTube game. You want to start buying equipment. You want to get a camera. You want to get a mic. You want to start a pod. You want to start doing street interviews, or you want to start just being a person behind the camera, shooting or editing or just doing something because you see that that's where the world is, and you can foresee that that's where the world is probably going to stay for a long time. Content is really, really king and queen and whatever other words of royalty that you can think of right now. Like, content is everywhere, and I personally don't really see it going anywhere for a long, long time. So it is a great way to get yourself out there, get your name out there, make some money off of it. Once you become good, once you kind of get a hold of it and understand what you're doing and how to do it and everything like that, man. So right now, just use me as a roadmap as to what to do and what not to do. I got a whole bunch of what not to do's. You feel me? I got a whole bunch of them. I might have a couple of what to do's, but I got hundreds of what not to do's. So hopefully I could save y'all some time. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all some tutelage, give you some feedback, all that kind of good stuff, man. But in order to do that, I think I gotta kind of really, really start from scratch, like really start from the beginning. Because my hope is there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be here for the very first time. A lot of y'all have seen me before. Y'all know the story. Y'all know the journey. Y'all know all of that. So you're gonna either turn it off and switch to something else, or you're gonna stay here and listen to it again, and just kind of hear me, tell my story a little bit over again, man. But first thing, I'm a baseball player at heart. I'm an athlete at heart. That was my very first passion in life. I think my mom and dad put a little toy red baseball bat like in the crib when I was like, who knows how old, but they got photos and video, or not video, photo footage, photo proof of me swinging a bat when I was like 1.5, like literally like on some 18 month, 19 months old type of craziness. You feel me? So that has always been my passion in life. At one point in time, I thought that was my calling in life. At one point in time, I thought that was what God put me here to do. Um, and I treated it as such. I chased it as fast as I could, for as long as I could, for as far as I could. And baseball took me crazy places. It allowed me amazing quality time with my parents, my mom and my dad. My dad taught me how to play. Both sides of my family were big baseball fans, big baseball people, super knowledgeable, like even down to my aunts. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't just designated or relegated to the males in the family. You feel me? It was everybody. Grandma on both sides, aunts and uncles, mom, dad. I'm the only child, so I ain't had no siblings or sisters or nothing like that. But we was all big baseball people. So the influences were there. And I want to start with sports, baseball specifically, because that's where my foundation is of work ethic, of never, not even quitting is not even in my blood. It's not in my DNA. It's not in my makeup. So that kind of, in weird ways, it kind of makes me a glutton for punishment in a lot of ways, a lot of times. But baseball is where it starts for me in terms of the not Jax journey. Um, and I just want to start there because, like, with the camera stuff, with the content stuff, baseball has always kind of been my reference point of the hardest thing that I've done in my life, of the most fun thing that I've also done in my life, but like the amount of work that it takes to become successful at something, even if you already love it, even if it is already fun, even if you already do have a passion for it, the ingredient of work, the ingredient of, you know, never giving up and resilience and perseverance and all of the cliche words, like it all started with sports. It all started with ball. You know what I'm saying? I played little league, high school. My college was a little bit rocky, but I was able to make it to play professionally. In independent ball, I played 4 years, got paid to play, got checked, like literally got checks where I had to deposit them in a bank to play. Now they wasn't worth a damn. You know what I mean? they wasn't worth a damn. I didn't make a very, very good living in those summers. But the experience, man, the experience was priceless. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's really like the foundation of like where I am now, like my mentality on things. You know what I'm saying? And that work ethic, because I'm gonna come back to that, you know what I'm saying, a lot. Um, but let's fast forward to 2014. 2014, 2015, right in that area, where I would say that's when my content creation journey started officially. Um, Damn, that's like 10 years, which is crazy. But I started on a podcast called Sex with Strangers. Shout out to C and Juice. Um, I met C. It was this is her particular baby. Um, I met C at a at work at a place called Philidor. It was a pharmacy that was super crooked. They stole millions of dollars. But we was there for 10 months before the government shut it down. But while I was there, met a lot of dope people, met a lot of great people. It was one of the best places I've actually ever worked. As far as like the culture and the environment and the people, it was a lot of young people. And I wasn't even really young at the time. I was like 29, 30. So I was like a fully grown, like adult person, but they seem to hire a lot of, not kids, but young adults, like in their early to mid 20s. It was almost like a spot for where kids could kind of like get their first job type of thing. out of, you know what I'm saying, coming out of school. It was probably just like a, good springboard that had benefit. I mean, they were crooked. So they was able to pay you. They was able to pay you a lot because they was stealing a lot. You know what I'm saying? They had great benefits because they was stealing a lot. So they could pay for great benefits. You know what I'm saying? So it was great. It was awesome. But a lot of young people there. I actually became cool with C's cousin first. Her cousin introduced me to her. And then we found out that, you know what I'm saying, we start talking and joking and, you know what I'm saying, kicking and just talking shit. And we kind of like lived in the same neighborhood. So we used to carpool. I used to ride home with her and shit like that. And while we were just in the car, we would just be chopping it up, kind of talking about our dating lives. You know, she's telling me about the dudes that she's talking to and dating, the idiots that she's talking to, and why she likes them and why she won't stop talking to them. You know, just like the typical stereotypical dating conversations that go on right now today, 10 years later, we used to just have in the back of in the back seat. Like, I'll be in the back seat, she'll be driving or whatever, and we just be talking about the same thing. And then, I'll be telling her this is back when I used to date. If y'all know me personally, y'all know I don't really do much of anything now, except for this. But we used to bounce our stories off of one another, right? And one day she kind of came in and started talking about wanting to start a podcast. And this is 2015, 2014 going into 2015. This is like 2014 November, if I'm not mistaken. And I had no idea what a podcast was. Never heard of it, never knew about it, didn't know nothing about it, right? But she basically explained it to me to where we're pretty much just talking about the same thing we be talking about on the ride to the crib in the car, but we just going, do it on microphones. And then once we record the audio, I'm gonna put the audio out, and people will have the opportunity to like listen to it if they want to. You know what I'm saying? Like in their headphones while they at work or while they working out or while they driving or whatever. I was like, whatever. I'm with it. That's cool. That's dope. Let's do it. And that's also lesson number 1, I guess, for y'all. Sometimes, man, you just gotta do it, bro. Sometimes if you get an idea, whether it's in your head or whether you go far enough as to write it down, jot it down on a notebook, piece of paper, it's really not real until you do it, until you try it. You don't even necessarily got to execute it, but you got to try it. And that's what this is kind of like really all about. You know what I'm saying? So she comes to my apartment. She has like this little mic. So we don't even have individual personal mics. It's not one for me and one for her. We got one mic. We put it in the middle of in between both of us. And when she's like, all right, we about to record 3, 2, and she hit the button or whatever, and we just talking into the mic, having a conversation. I would say the first, excuse me, I would say like the first, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes, I was a little nervous. It felt a little weird. But once we got the cracking jokes, it was just like we two homies just chopping it up. And before you know it, we had talked for maybe like 90 minutes or like a couple of hours, and it was done, right? It was done. She went back to the crib. She did whatever she had to do. Put it up. In my mind, it's like, all right, man, we out of here. I helped the homie out. She ain't had no co-host or nothing like that. Helped her out, had a conversation. It was fun. It was funny. Boom. Back to my regular life. Following week, she asked me again. She was like, yo, I'm doing the pod again. Do you want to be on it again? I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. Like, cool. Get on it again. Same thing. Upload it. Boom. 2 episodes done. Long story, a little bit less long. We ended up doing a pod for 5 years. We ended up doing it from the end of 2014, basically 2015, up until like 2020, like really pretty much up into the pandemic. The pandemic was kind of the thing that kind of ended it for real. You know what I'm saying? Just the way that the world changed, and a lot of the adjustments that we ended up having to make. That's kind of, and just some other like life, just life happening, right? But within that 5 year span, that's really what got me into content creation, and not really the talent part of it, right? The talent part of it for me, the talking, the being entertaining, the trying to tell a story, the just being articulate and being able to articulate your thoughts and being able to express yourself, that was never difficult for me personally. It was never difficult to like really be vulnerable, or to feel nervous, or to feel weird, or to tell the truth, or just to be authentic. Like, I never had a problem with just being myself in front of the camera. But being behind the camera was a little bit of a different story, because within that 5 year range, I think we did 5 live shows. If I'm not mistaken, I think we did 3 in Philadelphia, 1 in Atlanta, and 1 in Houston. We were about to do our 6th one in New York City, but then the pandemic happened and it just shut everything down. But within those 5 shows, within those 5 live shows that we did do, we had to figure out a way to get the people from just being fans through their headphones to get them to put their physical asses in seats, to get in front of us, to watch us, to talk with us, to laugh with us, to just be around us and the energy that we brought. And if y'all have ever sold tickets to anything, selling one ticket as a non-celebrity is one of the hardest things that you'll ever do. Selling tickets is extremely difficult. So anybody who can sell tickets, or sell merch, or sell physical items, kudos, bravo, you feel me? Because that is very, very difficult to get people to spend their hard-earned money on somebody who's considered to be talent but isn't famous, who isn't a celebrity. And I was trying to figure out ways to get people to do that, coming from an audio podcast, right? Because we did audio probably for like the first year and some change. And we didn't even start incorporating video into the pod until I got an iPhone. I haven't always been an iPhone user. Like, I used to have an Android back in like 2015. I don't think I got an iPhone until like 2017, maybe something like that. And that's what prompted us to go towards video, because I could kind of see where podcasting was going. It was like, it's cool to hear y'all. It's cool to laugh and listen to y'all through the speakers and through the headphones, but especially the kind of content we was talking about sex stuff. It was called Sex with Strangers, a Grown Folks podcast. So we was talking about everything that y'all see that these pods is talking about right now in 2023, 2024, 2025, all that. Basically, from the pandemic on, I'm not trying to brag, but we were really, truly having all of those conversations from 2015 up until the pandemic. So when you're talking about salacious stuff, when you're talking about controversial topics, people want to see what you look like. People want to, so they could judge you. People want to see you so they could judge you. People want to see you so they could either get behind you and being like, you know what, I know what he talking about. I know what she talking about. You know what, I agree with her. Or people are looking for an excuse to disagree with you. But the point is, they want to see you. They want to see you in front of the camera. They want to see what you look like. They want to see how you built. They want to see if you got aura, if you got swag, what your energy is like, because you can see all of that. You can't really always tell that just by hearing somebody, just by the audio. You need the video to make it make sense, to make it match, right? Another reason why content is so important, why it's so influential or detrimental, you know what I'm saying? But I made a deal with him. I was like, yo, if I get an iPhone, y'all we gotta film this. We gotta film this stuff, man, because people want to see us so they can connect. And we did that. We started recording all of the episodes, and I would just kind of go out and or I would go in and take a few clips, make a few clips, and start putting it on Instagram and just promoting us that way. And I think that it really boosted what we already had. We had great conversations. We had a good audience, but I think it took it to another level when they were able to see us in real life, see what we look like. It invited them um into our they were already in our lives, but it like really allowed us to like make them feel like they was in the room for real. Because not only can you now hear us, but you can now see us, and you could picture what it would be like if you were to come to a live show, and be there in the room with us and feel our energy. You know what I'm saying, and vice versa. So the video and the content played a huge part in that. But for me personally, that was like my first venture into, let me come into the room and figure out like, where am I gonna set up, how am I gonna where am I gonna put the light, how can I frame it to where we're all in the frame where you can all kind of see at least a little bit of our face, because we were facing each other, but I didn't only have one phone, I didn't have multiple. It got to a point where I was like, we didn't have microphones, so I had to just invest in like some little clip-on joints or whatever, just to kind of slowly but surely, like, one item by one item by one item, just trying to make the quality of the content better. Even though if I look back on it now, and I might try to pull up some clips or something, if I show you it now, it looked trash compared to what I'm able to do now with the equipment that I have now. But the point is, I had to start. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that this is something that the people have to see. So I gotta start, even if it don't look the best, even if it don't look perfect, even if it sound kind of crazy or is echoey, or the microphones ain't the best, or you could see the wire coming from the clip of my collar, and the wires coming off of my body, and you know what I'm saying. Even if you see all of that, it don't matter, because what matters is the people got to see us and the people got to hear us, and we'll figure out all that other stuff later. But when it came to the live shows, the content was so important because we had to sell the tickets. So not only did we have the clips, but we were trying to reel people in uh with funny content, dramatic content, whether it be sexual, not only fans type of sexual content, but just like trying to find creative ways to still keep it like R-rated and not X-rated, but to still get like the X-rated feel of what our show was about, because our show was absolutely X-rated. At the time, I had a roommate. Shout out to my homie Chaz. Had a roommate, and he had an iPhone, and we used to produce scenes. And I'm my goofy ass. I used to be a skit. I used to be a skit guy. I used to do skits. Used to think of goofy ideas, and I'd be like, "Yo, I want to go do this silly skit or whatever. Can you film me?" And he'll always be with the shits or whatever. So it was no problem. And we was doing stuff like all over the. We'd go to different parks and different stores and parking lots and rooftops and driveways. We'll do some. We might, you know what I'm saying, shoot some stuff in here in the crib. Just figuring it all out with no cameras, no nothing, just pure creativity, ideas. And to be honest with you, he was actually he was better at the he was always better at the filming aspect, the shooting of it, and I felt like I was always better with the editing part of it. So we complemented each other very well um, in that aspect, right? So I remember I would be at work, and instead of doing work, I would be I would be at work, and instead of doing work, I would be searching YouTube for specific movie scenes out of my favorite movies or just really good movies that I knew would correlate as long as I changed up like the script and the dialogue. And I was like, yo, I could do this monologue. Let me just write out my part, my lines, and I'll try to memorize this joint, and we could get that on film, and it would just make it make sense to be able to promote the show, the live show for the Sexual Strangers pod. And we should do that over and over and over and over. And that was our formula. And it was crazy because even though we were shooting all of this stuff on phones, low key, it was work. We were really storyboarding. We were really writing the script. We were really producing it. We were really uh doing scout locations on it. Um we were really doing wardrobe. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at some of those old videos, we had costumes and wardrobes and music selections, and you know what I'm saying, we was riding around looking for different locations of where we could shoot stuff, and we were thinking up of stories, and we were writing and then rewriting, and oh, that don't fit, even though I thought it was gonna fit. Let's go back and rewrite it and do it again. We was doing different sets and different multiple takes and all of that, right? And we had a conversation one time. You know how you like you get back to the crib and you park, but you don't, you know, you just in the car just chilling, chopping it up. And we had a conversation, and we was like, bro, all the work we did tonight on phones, like if we had like a real camera, like a for real camera, like a professional camera, we'd really be nice at this. We would really be nice at this, bro. Like the way that we really be taking this serious, like if we had cameras, dog, we could do something. And that's when my wheels really started spinning, trying to figure out, all right, well, how do we do that? How do I get the money? How much do it cost? What kind of camera do I want? What kind of camera do I need? Like, what all? I don't even know anything about cameras. Let me go to YouTube. Let me Google something. Let me go to Amazon. Uh, and when I tell you, when I tell you, when I first looked up how much real cameras cost, that shit blew my mind, dog. Blew my mind. I said, I'm thinking, I swear, I'm thinking them joints was gonna be like, I was thinking it was gonna be like close to or probably like $1,000, right? I had no clue. I had no idea. Um, so that was, I'll get to that kind of stuff in some of the later episodes, man. But I guess I say all of that to just say, like, I knew that the passion was there. Obviously, the work ethic was there. Because we were doing it for fun. We were doing it for fun. We were doing it for free. We were doing it solely based off of how much how much fun it was to go out and like shoot something and recreate something or create something original. And just the whole process of thinking of something up here, writing it down, and then go executing the idea in real life, and then seeing it digitally on your screen, on your phone, and being able to be like, yo, like we really did that. We really made that. And then to get the super unpopular dopamine rush of the feedback from the people. The laughing emojis, the fire emojis, the yo, y'all stupid comments, like the yo, you wild comments, like all of that, which also kind of transformed into the comments that said like, yo, I gotta come and see the show. I gotta get a ticket. I gotta fly to Philly so I could come see this in real life in person. And it was all kind of, it was orchestrated in a way, even though it was a job, but also it was fun. It was still, it was kind of like the plan, because like the plan was like, how do we get these people's attention? How do we garner these people's attention in order to be able to influence them, in order to want to not only listen to us and watch us through their phones, but also physically come and watch us do our thing in real life. Um, and that really was like, that was kind of the start of trying to figure this whole content thing out, on how to like parlay just making the content into making money from the content, right? Uh I also remember how I branched off to create the One Mic Stand, which is my own personal podcast platform. And that was honestly just created because I wanted to get more, I wanted to funnel more people to Sex with Strangers. I remember I was flying home one time from St. Louis, or I was flying home to St. Louis from Philly, and I had my iPhone. So I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I could do a little bit more with the iPhone or whatever. I was like, I had the iPhone. I knew I was gonna be seeing my mom and seeing a couple of my folks, couple of my, you know what I'm saying, my people, my friends, and everything. And my mom, you know, she loves to have conversations just in general with me. So I asked her, I just pretty much like used her as you know, I guess a test dummy, muse, whatever you want to call it. And I asked her like if she wanted to have a conversation, but if it was cool if I could film it. Because I wanted to have these one-on-one conversations with people that I knew every time that I flew to a different city. Because I did, you know, I used to fly, go home, or fly to have a guys trip with the homies or whatever. And I just always wanted to have an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation. Um, you know, when I went to these different cities, because in my mind the idea was, if I could sit down with somebody in every city that I go to, put it on YouTube, because they're in it, they're also going to share it, they're also going to post it, and now maybe whoever it is that they know in that city, maybe now we could grow our audience in a different city besides Philadelphia. So that was kind of like that was my thought process behind it. But it just kind of turned into like a thing where it was like, where are you going next? Where are you flying next? Because I sat down with my mom. I remember I set it up. I had my little microphone on top of the phone. I ain't had a clip on, but I had like a shotgun mic, but I didn't have the right wires or cords and nothing like that. So it ended up, the audio was coming straight out of the phone. Terrible. But you can still hear us, but it was terrible. And because I was still a new iPhone user, I didn't know that videos took up so much room, so much storage in your phone. So I think we ended up talking for like 2 hours, but the phone only recorded like 30 minutes of it. And it was such a great conversation. It was a great conversation, man. My mom ended up crying a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And we had good moments, high moments, low moments, sad moments, reflective moments in the conversation. Overall, I thought the conversation was really, really, really good, but it sucked because I only got a fraction of it, and people weren't really able to really see it. But I posted what we had, what we got. The response was dope. People really enjoyed it. And that's how my mom actually became kind of like a reoccurring guest on One Mic Stand. Every time I would come back home, I would try to shoot something with her in it. And I actually have a couple of the episodes on the YouTube or whatever. Um, and I just it's so many. I'm trying to think. Some of this is out of order because I'm trying to give y'all like a general. How did you get into content creation? How did you get into this? How did you start? I'll end it with this. I didn't have the money. Uh, I didn't have the money to get my first camera. I was trying to figure out how to get it, how I'm afford it. I watched all of them. I watched a lot of YouTube. I got I have my favorite, my go-to people that I watch who I feel who are super talented that I wanted to kind of like, you know, get bits and pieces of their style, get bits and pieces of their style, and then kind of like, you know what I'm saying, mold it together, and come up with my own style. I watched those guys. I saw what they shot on, what they used, how they used to work, how they set up. Um, Watched a bunch of tutorials on like what camera is best for what, and what you do need and what you don't need, and what is important, what isn't important. Um, and I think I had to have been like super broke at the time, at this particular time that I'm about to tell you about. I had to have been super broke because I hit my dad up, and this had to be like 20 this had to be 2019. No, this had to be 2018. This had to be 2018. Uh my grandmother passed 20 like 3 years prior, like 2016. And after she passed, she left she left the family something, right? I ain't know how much. I ain't even know if I was part of that. I ain't know if she just left it to my dad or left it to my grandfather, because obviously she was married, and then my dad is her son, and I'm just her grandson. She left us something because I had to go into the city and sign some papers presented by an attorney. That takes place in 2016. I do that. Cool, we good. Y'all need me to do anything else? No? All right, straight. Cool. I go on with my life, go on with my business. Fast forward, like I said, back to 2018. I must be super broke because I don't never really. I while I was working a corporate. Let me make this. While I was working my own corporate job, I ain't never hit my parents up for like asking for money and shit like that. Now it's different when I'm not in corporate no more and I'm on this whole entrepreneur journey. Every now and then, I mean, I got to keep my favors to a minimum. I got to keep my asks to a minimum, but I've definitely hit them up uh a few more times within these past 5 to 6 years than I had in my first like 34 to 35 years. Um, but I hit him up. I was like, yo, I'm hella broke. Remember the papers that the lawyer had us sign and everything like that? Like, what's up with that? Did that like go through, or I'm just kind of wondering because I could really use a couple of bucks right now, and I'm just want to check in and see like what that whole situation is looking like. And my pop, he's like, oh, that money been there. Like, I mean, it's yours whenever you know what I'm saying, whenever you need it or whenever you want it. You just probably got to go talk to your grandfather, um, because he's the one with all of the actual like paperwork and stuff like that. But holler at him, and he'll tell you how to do it or how to get it. But it's yours. It's there. Like it's good. I'm like, I'm like, seriously? Like, I've been eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and ramen noodles, and this whole time drinking tap water out the sink. This whole time, and it's been some bread there just waiting for me, and all that. Now I ain't know how much it was. I ain't ask. I ain't care. Whatever. I just knew it was something. It was gonna be something more than what I had in my pocket at that moment, right? So hit my grandfather up, man. He said, like, come to the crib. I got you. Um, I'm like, all right, bet, cool. Go to the crib, and we chop it up, talk whatever, and he kind of like lays out some of the numbers for me. And my grandmother left me a little decent amount. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, like, not. Don't get me wrong, not like life changing, but a decent amount to where I could get I could get some stuff. I can get some stuff. I just found this new passion in life. I know the tools that I need, and I could use these resources to get some of these tools that I need to get to where I gotta go, or at least get started, right? So out of the out of the main amount, he wrote me. He told me how much that was allotted to me. Out of that amount, I was like, all right, well, let me get this much of it. He wrote me a check, deposited the check. Took some days to clear. Once it cleared, I've been doing research. I've been doing my research ever since ever since I found out that the money was there. I've been doing research for weeks. For weeks. And I probably did like 2 more weeks of research even after the money cleared. Cause I just really, really, really wanted to make the right choices. Um I knew what I needed the camera for. I knew what I needed the equipment for. Um and at the time it was really podcasting. It was podcasting. I wanted to take my own show on the road. I wanted to get cameras so that I could shoot content for other people. I knew that it was more so for video than for photos. I never really wanted to start out and be a photographer. It was always video. Um so I did so much research, yo. Weeks, maybe a month of research before I actually put stuff in the cart and actually purchased it. But once I did, January of 2019 was the first day that me and the homie Chaz had the camera, had the gimbal, had like some lights, a couple of little gadgets and microphones and stuff like that. And we just went out in Philly. We got dressed, went out in Philly, and just like started filming random shit. Started filming random shit. Didn't really know what we was doing. It was just like had some new toys and was just going out and just trying to figure out, what I'm saying, like how we supposed to work these joints. Um and I remember like I was just shooting any and everything. Like I had no plan, no idea. Uh but I knew that this was like the start of something. And I always take this opportunity. I always love to take this opportunity to thank my grandmother for having that foresight. Having that foresight to be like, I don't know what he want to do. Because at the time, when she passed, I had been done playing ball for like maybe like 4 or 5 years at that time. I had been done playing ball, had no idea I was going to get into this camera thing. I was just working. I was just working a regular job. I mean, obviously, she didn't know that she was going to pass because we never know. But she had the foresight enough to look out for me, and she birthed not Jax. She birthed not Jax Productions. Um, so I always just gotta, pay homage to her. Say thank you to her. Because without that seed money, who knows if I would have ever truly picked up a camera and been able to chase, passion number two. You feel me? So shout out to Grandma Shirley, man. Always gotta shout Grandma Shirley out, man. I love you, man. Uh, but that's the backstory of how this whole thing just all really got started. I wanted to start off with this because there's gonna be a lot of times where I'm gonna be referencing for sure baseball, referencing for sure the podcast life, referencing for sure even the story of how like not Jax, it's like literally the words not Jax Productions um even got started, man. And it really just it started from that. You know what I mean? It started from the pod. It started from my grandmother. It started from baseball because sometimes you got to recognize when something is a passion. Because sometimes I think we come in contact with things in life where we like it, but it's really just a hobby, or we like it, or we might even love bomb a thing. We love bomb it for a couple of weeks, but we find out like I ain't really built for this. This ain't really something that I want to do. This is not really something that I want to commit to. But when you have a passion early in life, you know what it feels like. You know what it feels like even when you have those days where you don't feel like doing what is required to be successful at this thing. And video production, I like to just call it camera shit. The camera shit, I was able to identify pretty quickly that like, yo, this is like baseball. I don't know how. I don't know how this happened, but this is like baseball again. This feels like how baseball felt. Like you liked it, then you found out you loved it, then you found out I got to get good at this. Then it kind of hit you like, yo, if I get this might be a little bit of a gift. Like I'm kind of nice at this, even though I really don't know what I'm doing for real. And then you figure out, yo, if I could ever get to the point where I figure out exactly what I'm doing, I could get paid from this. Ooh, and that's when I think that's when the juices really start to flow. You like, oh wait, I might really be able to do something with this right here if I really study the game, if I really take it serious, if I really commit. And I think that's the part where the passion comes in because you start to really enjoy that process. Uh, you start to enjoy the difficulty of it. As weird and as strange as that sounds, um, that's when the journey starts. When things start to when you start to meet them hurdles, when you start to run into them hurdles face first, and you don't know how to get over a certain thing, but you refuse to quit until you figure it out. Because most people, I think, when something isn't a passion, I think most people are just, they just say, nah. They just say, fuck it. It's not that important, man. It's just a hobby. It's just a silly little thing I do. You know what I'm saying? When I get home from work. I don't even do it every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when it's not that, when it's really like, nah, I gotta figure this out. Because if I don't figure this out, then I'll never be able to progress. But I gotta progress. I gotta get better. I gotta get nice. You know what I mean? And nothing is gonna stop me from doing that. So I don't know, man. This wasn't supposed to be this long of a reintroduction. Uh, but this is me. This is Jax. This is not JAX Productions. Um, if you stay here for the whole time, man, I appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share it with somebody else who you know is an aspiring content creator, who know somebody else who is in the exact same position that I said that I was in 5-6 years ago, where they know that they know that they like this thing, but they don't really know how to navigate it for real. You know that you want to do this thing, but you don't even know where to look. You don't know who to look at, who to listen to. What do I search? What are the names of some of the things that I search? And I'll get into that stuff later. Like, listen, man, I'm here. I'm here for y'all, dog. If you've been wanting to start that pod, if you've been wanting to get that camera, if you've been wanting to shoot those documentaries, if you've been wanting to shoot them commercials, if you've been wanting to shoot that lifestyle content or that behind the scenes content for that artist in your city, or you just do like birthday parties and weddings and reels and recaps, man. Like, it's so many things that you can create content for, especially in the day and age that we living in now. Like, everything is content. Even the smallest, most simplest thing is content, bro. And it's not too late. It really isn't. One of the Some days I wish I would have started earlier, but most days I understand that I'm right on time. Because I couldn't have possibly started earlier, because if I started earlier, I would have never played ball. And if I would have never played ball, I wouldn't be me. So I would be a completely different person. So I'm right on time. Um, and if I can help y'all speed up y'all process, man, that's what I'm here for. Um, so all right, again, I promise, because I'm long-winded. Again, uh, thank you for tuning in. I guess this is episode one of the revamp of the relaunch. Even though I got a whole bunch of old content on here, and please go check that out. Feel free to check it out. Uh, but yeah, man, we'll be back. Like I said, to be safe, let's say I'll be back next week. Right? I'm not gonna commit to 2 and 3 times a week. To be safe, let's say I do one episode a week. Sometimes I might be outside, I might be vlogging, I might just do talking head like I'm doing right now, talking to straight into the camera, or I might just take y'all outside on an adventure with me. We got some new things coming up. A new chapter is about to start for me. So I'll let y'all in on that a little bit later. If you do want to subscribe to the Patreon, I think I'll probably cut these videos in fractions or in half. So I'll probably maybe give y'all like the first half. I don't know if this is right now only on Patreon, this part of the episode, or if I just put the whole thing on YouTube. I'm not really sure. But in the future, I'll probably cliffhang y'all in the middle of the YouTube to try to get y'all to go to the Patreon. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, hey, we still gotta make a little bit of bread. You feel me? So if you want to support just by the YouTube, man, I appreciate that. Please subscribe and like and share. If you want to support with the Patreon, please, 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 please do that so I can eat dinner. You know what I'm saying? I think we got like a $2 or $3 tier. We got a $5. We got a $10, a $20. And then the big boy is the creators tier. That's the $99 a month, but that's also comes with consultation. You get my contact information, my phone number. So if you ever have any questions or anything like that, you can always text me 24 hours a day. If I'm up, I'll respond. You could call. If I'm available, I'll answer, and whatever, talk you through anything. We could Zoom, FaceTime, or just chop it up. I could, review some of your work, give you, tips and tricks on gear and equipment and just whatever it is that I could try to help you with. That's what that particular tier is for. But to see the content, it's the $5 tier or up, man. So, not JAX Productions. Don't wait till you become famous to tell the world your story. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next week. All right, we out. Chill.